The engagement party wasn't over yet, but she had already turned me into a public joke. She rushed over with champagne, wrapped her arms around me, pressing her entire body against mine. How does a girl this beautiful end up marrying him? She purred, her voice sweet, her grip tight. We were inside the private ballroom at the Peninsula Chicago, filled with finance, real estate, shipping elites. My fiancé, Daniel Brooks, stood beside us, smiling like this was nothing more than harmless teasing. "Lily, don't," he said lightly, without any real intention of stopping her behavior. Then she tilted her head, speaking loudly enough for everyone to hear across the entire crowded room. "Don't worry. I already tested him," she said, smiling with innocent eyes and something darker underneath. "He's good," she added, her tone playful, suggestive, and deliberately impossible to misunderstand in public. The room froze for exactly 1 second before laughter exploded from every direction. Round us, some people whistled. Others raised their phones, capturing every second like it was entertainment. I stood there, my fingertips cold, fully aware this wasn't drunken behavior or accidental overstepping. This was deliberate. This was a declaration of war, delivered in front of everyone who mattered. My name is Emily Carter, heir to Carter Logistics, built and headquartered in Chicago's financial district. This engagement was never about romance. It was a strategic merger between two powerful families. To them, humiliation was a joke, and crossing boundaries was rebranded as intimacy and modern openness. Daniel reached for her, but his tone was gentle, almost indulgent, lacking any real authority or disapproval. "Come on, stop it," he said, though he clearly didn't expect her to actually listen. Instead, she leaned closer to me, her lips brushing near my ear as she whispered softly. "You're temporary," she said, like it was a fact, not a threat or an opinion. I smiled. Then I patted her back gently, as if comforting a friend instead of marking a target. "I'm not mad," I said, calm and steady, giving them exactly the reaction they expected. The atmosphere relaxed instantly. They thought I understood, that I was reasonable, composed, predictable. Daniel looked at me, his expression softening, relief obvious in the way his shoulders dropped slightly. "I knew you'd understand," he said, confident I would stay exactly where he needed me. I nodded, just like I had for the past 10 years, playing the role they assigned me. But inside, something had already shifted. I wasn't tolerating anymore. I was calculating everything. He allowed her behavior. Everyone else allowed it too. And they all expected me to accept it. At the end of the hallway, Chloe Walker lit a cigarette, watching me with sharp, knowing eyes. "You planning to keep acting?" she asked, her tone casual, but her attention razor-focused. I leaned against the wall, exhaling slowly, my mind already 10 steps ahead of everyone else. "I'm not acting," I said quietly. "I'm closing the net." She studied me for a second, then smiled like she understood exactly what that meant. "I'm in," she said. No hesitation, no questions, just alignment with whatever was coming next. From that moment forward, the wedding stopped being a celebration. It became a public execution. Over the next few days, I didn't fight back. I cooperated. I became even more agreeable because I needed them relaxed, careless, convinced that I would never break pattern or resist control. Lily became more reckless, more confident, pushing boundaries further each time without facing consequences. At the bridal boutique, she told the designer openly, "She's not built for this dress." Daniel laughed it off, brushing it aside like her insults were simply honesty, not deliberate humiliation. "She's just being honest," he said, reinforcing her behavior instead of correcting or stopping it. I smiled again. "Do you like her in it?" I asked, watching him closely. He hesitated for 1 second. That hesitation told me everything I needed to know. I remembered it. I stored it. I added it to the list I was already building. On the wedding day, the Peninsula Chicago ballroom was packed, including media invited under business pretenses. Lily and I walked in wearing identical wedding dresses, perfectly matched in every visible detail. The entire room erupted into confusion, whispers spreading instantly through the crowd like wildfire. Which one is the bride? People murmured, unsure, uncomfortable, but unable to look away. She stood on Daniel's right side. I was pushed slightly to the left, intentionally displaced. The officiant's voice trembled. The atmosphere shifted from celebration into something far more unstable. Then Lily grabbed the microphone, smiling like she owned the entire room and every person inside it. I got them a better gift, she announced, opening a decorative box slowly, dramatically, deliberately. Inside was a full set of birth control pills, displayed like a statement. Not a joke. Women shouldn't be trapped by marriage, she said, as if she were delivering something empowering. Daniel's expression changed, but he only lowered his voice, trying to contain the situation quietly. Lily, step down, he said, still not willing to confront her directly in front of everyone. Instead, she hugged me again. I'm doing this for you, she whispered, playing the savior. Every eye in the room turned toward me, waiting to see how I would respond this time. I smiled. Thank you, I said, steady, controlled, completely unreadable to anyone watching. They froze. Daniel relaxed again, convinced I would keep tolerating everything like before. He thought I would absorb it, smooth it over, protect the illusion of stability. I lifted my head and looked directly at the crowd, at the cameras, at the shareholders. If this is a gift, I said calmly, then I prepared something in return. The lights dimmed instantly. The main screen behind us flickered to life without delay or hesitation. It wasn't a video. It was financial data, precise, structured, undeniable in its clarity. Hidden accounts under Daniel's name, offshore transfers routed through, layered shell companies, and Lily listed clearly as the beneficiary across multiple transactions and asset movements. The room exploded. Not laughter this time. Shock, outrage, calculation, and immediate consequences. Daniel, face drained of color. Emily, what is this? He demanded, voice already unstable. I looked at him calmly. You said she was just a friend. I reminded him. The screen kept scrolling properties, equity transfers, cash flow breakdowns. Everything meticulously documented. Every number matched. Every connection traceable. Every excuse already eliminated before it could be spoken. A shareholder stood up. Explain this, he demanded, voice cutting through the chaos immediately. Cameras flashed nonstop. Media surged forward, capturing every angle, every reaction, every collapse unfolding. Lily panicked for the first time. Turn it off, turn it off. She screamed, losing control. She rushed toward the control console, knocking equipment aside in a desperate attempt to stop it. I didn't stop her. I didn't need to. The system was already prepared for that. Scenario. The moment the system disconnected, cloud backup triggered automatically, pushing everything to external media servers. All data was transmitted instantly to journalists, analysts, and every outlet already waiting for a story. She froze, completely broken, no longer in control of anything happening around her anymore. Daniel looked at her differently now. For the first time, there was no softness left in his eyes. I spoke quietly, but the entire room heard every word clearly without needing amplification. You weren't a joke, I said. You were a coordinated financial alliance. Silence. Absolute. Suffocating silence filled the entire ballroom as everything finally became undeniable. My father stood up. Engagement canceled, he announced, his voice firm, final, irreversible. Then he added, all partnerships terminated, removing every layer of protection they thought they had. Daniel's father went pale. He understood instantly. This wasn't embarrassment. This was collapse. I handed over the documents. According to the prenup, I said, calm and precise, controlled. The party in breach transfers 15% equity, I finished, leaving no room for interpretation. Daniel's hand shook as he signed, not out of guilt, but because he had no options left. 3 days later, Brooks Group stock crashed. Investors pulled out. Partnerships dissolved one after another. Media coverage intensified, uncovering even more connections, more inconsistencies, more damage across their structure. Lily was exposed further. New allegations surfaced. Their alliance turned into mutual destruction. They started blaming each other, tearing apart everything they had built together behind closed doors. And me, I stood in my Chicago office, watching the news roll across the city's skyline. No anger, no satisfaction, just clarity. The outcome had already been decided long before that night. Chloe walked in. "You knew all along?" she asked, studying me carefully. I nodded. "She doesn't love women," I said. "She just can't tolerate competition." I signed a new contract worth $320 million without looking back once, because I understood something they never did, even at the very end of everything. That night didn't destroy me. I used it. I let it happen exactly as planned. She didn't ruin me. I used her to destroy them in front of everyone who mattered. And I chose the moment carefully when the entire world was watching, and nothing could be hidden.